I remember I was a kid and I would get home around 4 or 5 when I was at grandma's house, because that's usually where I saw The Price is Right, usually at my grandma's house.
Mhm.
Sometimes my dad would watch it, but usually at my grandma's house, she watching The Price is Right, and I liked the show. And I'm not gonna sit here and say this is a show that I grew up. I would come home and eagerly watch it, but when it was on, it's on.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I grew to like the show. I grown to like the show. So they've been doing this Bob Barker documentary, and I know it's April 5th, and it came out March 18th, and I get all that. But I can't watch everything at once because it's so many shows that's out. It's so much that's out. But I just want to say, so they had the Bob Barker, he had a 35-year run. He was on there from 1972 to 2007, which is a long time.
Yes.
So it was on the docuseries Dirty Rotten Scandals. The journalist David Kushner, he did the documentary on Bob Barker because he started looking at it and he started saying that stuff was actually true about some of the stuff he was saying. So it not just hearsay. He looked up on some stuff and ooh, this stuff is true. So he decided to put it out. And so Holly Hallstrom, which I heard her name before, just being a kid, she was the one that was trying to write a book about this, her life, because she was they call them Barker girls, of course. She was a Barker girl from 1977 to 1995. And she was there when the show started. She was not when it started. But from 1977 to 1995, that's a long time too. That is a long time,
especially in that world.
Yeah. So she tried to release a book because she got fired because she started taking medication, started making her bigger, and they fired her over it. And so she wanted to write a book, but Bob Barker, he kept, what they call it when you try to write a book and they block it. But he kept putting her in the lead. He kept fighting it. You can't put the book out. And it was 5 years, and she lost, because of all the legal fees and stuff, she lost her house and all that because she kept having to, fight it, right? So right when the trial's about to start, they're about to go to trial over this, Bob Barker dropped it at the last minute. So he made her fight for 5 years with legal fees and stuff. And right when the trial about to start over it, he dropped it.
Wow.
Yeah. So the book came out, and so this is 01, 02, and people, this is before the internet. This, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't even know this book exists. If you're in the entertainment business, you do, but if you're like me and you don't know. We're freshmen in high school. We don't know this exists. Yeah, so this book has been out since then. And then there was a lot of girls over the time. Claudia Jordan and Kathleen Bradley, 2 black women, said the producers and Barker created a racist environment, and they filed lawsuits against The Price is Right and Bob Barker, and some have won. So they said women who spoke out against Bob Barker got swift retaliation, including being fired or blacklisted. And so yeah, they say he was kind of a racist too, which sucks. Really does suck, man.
You know what? Let's keep it a buck. All right. Now think about how old Bob Barker was.
Yeah, and he died in 2020. Yeah, he passed away in 2023 at the age of 99.
All right, so rest in peace, Bob Barker. We'll give him that respect. But you think about his age, okay? A lot of these older Caucasian males from that time period still carried that thought process. Not all, because there's some good people. I know some very good people in that age bracket that respect and love people of all races. But when you tell me somebody from that time period is like that, you don't want it to be true because of who he was. And I personally saw a lot of Prices Right because my parents, anytime I was off from school or whatever, and my parents, when I was little, had to stay home with me or whatever, it would be on TV because my mom and daddy watched the stories that came on after. They watched Young and the Restless. So before Young and the Restless, you had Prices Right at 10 o'clock from 10 to 11. Oh, they be watching that. And I used to get into it. But again, you want to think that these people that you watch, that you're fans of, are going to be fans of you. And the sad truth is, it's not always the case. And to hear that he treated, those beautiful women like that, and that he created that type of atmosphere, is really alarming. And again, should shed a light on the industry as a whole as to what people should and shouldn't tolerate. Because I know for your job, you're going to be afraid to blow the whistle because, like you said, you get blacklisted, you get labeled as something, and you lose your job. So you don't want to lose, what's making you eat every day. You don't want to lose, that's how I eat. That's how I pay my bills.
Exactly.
And this is my industry. So if that's all you don't want to lose that. But at the same time, you want to be able to stand on what's right.